Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1977's Saturday Night Fever.
So, when you hear like your slightly inappropriate grandparent, or let's say your average Fox News viewer, say, we miss the good old days, right? We want to go back to the good old days. This movie is literally what they mean by the good old days.
The good old days.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
I'm not going to wait to the end, so spoiler alert, this movie's hot trash.
Yeah, if they cared about making a movie as much as they cared about making Travolta's hair look amazing, this movie would have been phenomenal.
Yes. And again, going back to things we've covered numerous times in the past, the acting was fine. Had almost no issue with any of the actors. When you write, and again, I'm deferring to you, when you write a story, there should be some sort of story in the story.
Yes.
This just seemed like this seemed like 10 different movies, and they were just like, let's cut out all the interesting parts to all the 10 movies, and we'll just make one really mediocre bad movie.
Yeah, this was basically Napoleon Dynamite, but trying to be a drama.
Really? That sounds pretty good.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the movie, if you want to reach out to me or Corey on Twitter, you could reach out to me at Junior D's. You could reach out to Corey at Corey_idol. And let's get into the cast. Saturday Night Fever. This film stars John Travolta as Tony Manero, Lynn Gorney as Stephanie, Barry Miller as Bobby C, the mood killer, Joseph Cali as Joey, Paul Pape as Double J, and Donna Pescow as Annette. I always defer to IMDB when we're doing these, and I'll read the plot synopsis or whatever, just to get an idea of, the movie as a whole. And it was like, this is Tony Manero, and he's growing up in Brooklyn, and he's doing things. And I was in my head, I was like, dude, this is just a caveman going about his caveman things for 2 hours.
Yeah, like this guy is this kid is on the fast track to literally becoming the person he hates the most and the life he dreads having the most, which is his father and his mother's relationship.
Yes.
He is petrified of living that life.
Yep.
And I don't blame him at all. However, he is actively pursuing every avenue to get to that life.
Yes.
Right? He's taken every crash course in how to beat a woman. He's taken every crash course in just random insults. Fuck your fucking spaghetti you made for me all day, you fucking bitch. Okay. He's taking notes on this shit. And there's going to be a test later. Yeah. He is really trying to be his dad this whole time. And he fucking hates his father.
So this movie opens very lightly with Tony Manero strutting through Brooklyn on his way to work at the paint store. He's eating pizza. He's scoping out ass on the streets. And, you're like, all right, you got some Bee Gees playing. Everything's groovy, baby.
Dude. I was cleaning the kitchen, as I do when I often start our movies, because I watch them at the last possible fucking minute. So I'm cleaning the kitchen, watching the beginning of this movie. I'm walking through my kitchen, strutting like a motherfucker, jamming to the Bee Gees. God damn, Bee Gees are good. They had it. And then the movie actually started with dialogue, and I was like, ew.
Yes. Well, and so he does the thing at the paint store, and then he gets home from work to his dysfunctional family, and he gets ready to go out. He's brushing his hair. He's doing some karate in the mirror while wearing his Speedos, and he puts on every stereotypical Italian chain he can find in the house.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question real quick?
Sure.
Actually, I'm not going to ask the question because it's rhetorical. We're just going to do this. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. If you're so interested in karate and kung fu and the martial arts, take a fucking class. Doing this shit in the mirror and being like part of the Happy Hands Club or whatever the fuck he's doing, that ain't it, bro.
Yeah.
Just because you I know karate, you don't know karate. And you're going to run into somebody that does know how to fight, and they are going to wholesale beat the shit out of you.
Yes. Well, and we see later in the movie when they actually do fight that nobody knows how to fight.
No, fuck no. Travolta gets his head caved in by a fucking female. Are you kidding me? That weighs less than I do. Like this 80-pound woman is jumping on his back and bashing his fucking head into the floor.
Let's face it, Travolta in this movie is only 85 pounds. So then, after he gets ready, we get the dinner scene with the entire family. Everybody's smacking each other in the head, which I will say is an Italian tradition in many Italian homes.
Yeah, the smacking on the head is nothing to what I consider abuse. And coming up in a non-Italian house, it happens pretty regularly. Just have smart mouth fucking kids.
You know what I didn't like about the dinner scene? I will be honest, okay? Because and the slapping and the thing, fine. But there is not a single Italian household that, and believe me when I say I grew up with all of them, that made pasta and pork chops for dinner. That's not a thing. It was either pasta or pork chops.
Right. They're living high on the hog, pun intended, because that's 2 dinners.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You're eating 2 dinners at once? That's fucking amazing.
Yeah. So
you guys are living the dream. This is what I think is funny too in this scene is the dad mentions how he's never hit Travolta's mom. He's never hit his wife in front of the kids.
Yeah, in front of the kids.
But that's not an asterisk.
That's things you shouldn't be proud of, by the way.
I've never broken a law, except for that time I killed 17 people.
But nobody found out about it, so...
It's not an asterisk. That's still hitting your mother. You've hit their mother. You fucking moron idiot.
Yeah.
And this is what happens through this whole movie, is everybody attaches an asterisk next to all of their actions.
Yes.
They
absolutely.
all have a fucking excuse.
Yep.
Fuck. Here, fuck those excuses.
And Tony, during this whole thing, is wearing like a goddamn curtain. I don't want to get my shirt dirty. Oh, Mom, tear down the curtain so I could put it across my chest. Fuck out of here. After dinner, Tony then goes out with his friends to the discotheque. And when he gets in the car, we get the line.
Hey, you assholes almost broke my pussy finger.
Oh, yeah, you would know what it was.
Again, this goes back to, it wasn't the actors or the job that they did. This goes to the right. There are so many lines written into this movie because I can't see Travolta ad-libbing the line, "You almost broke my pussy finger." I can't see that being ad-libbed. That was in the script.
No.
So
that is a fantastic line. I don't know why it's not quoted more often.
You know what? It's now in my bank of things that I'm going to say from now on.
I wish I knew that when I was breaking all my fingers trying to play football and basketball in high school.
These guys get to the club. They pull in, they park. And after being racist and doing racisms for a little bit, they get into the club.
Okay.
And
can we stop here for a second?
Absolutely.
Because I was waiting for you to bring up the racisms
yes.
before I just went, racism! But, as you stated earlier in this program, you grew up around every kind of Italian household humanly possible.
Pretty much.
We don't mean look at the Italian flag and the fucking horn I'm wearing around my neck. I'm 26th generation Italian. Real from Italy.
We were all off the boat.
First generation Italian family.
Yes.
Okay. Are all of you fucking racist pieces of shit? Because that's really how you're portrayed in film. Like I thought that there were some like really bad films out there that portrayed a lot of minorities in a very poor light, and there are.
So,
however, the amount of movies we have covered that take a royal shit on Italian people it should be studied in fucking school.
yes,
Somebody should be writing a thesis about Italian racism in American film. It is unbelievable.
I'll give you just a tiny history lesson because, I don't read much. But growing up in an Italian household, Tony Manero in this movie actually sums it up really well after the dance competition, where he's like, everybody's got to take a dump on somebody. Yes. And for eons, Italians were considered minorities. Now we're just white people. But they were considered minorities. People dumped on them. That's where the term dagos and day laborers and all that shit came from. So they then, and if you look at New York City, everything was in pockets.
Yeah.
Like you had your Hispanic neighborhoods, your Puerto Rican neighborhoods, your Italian. That's why in this movie you hear 1,000 times, wrong neighborhood.
Right.
Like, that's how it was.
Wrong neighborhood, huh?
So everybody hated everybody because you had to shit on somebody.
Yeah.
We get into the dance club now, and we see 70s dancing in all of its glory. I don't know if it was just me, but all dancing in the 70s was about pointing at shit and clapping at the end of every dance move. Oh, and in the arm rolls. You had to get the arm rolls in.
Yeah. Have you ever heard somebody sing that doesn't really know how to sing? And it's kind of more like them just kind of like tonally speaking.
Yes.
Right? That's what dancing in the 70s kind of looks like to me.
Yes, it was awful.
You're trying really hard to dance, but everything is so like exaggerated and over the top, obvious choreographed. Like you're trying to 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. It's like get the fuck out! Like it just seems so weird and robotic and all over the place.
Dude, everything
it looks like my dog when it sleeps, just limbs fucking everywhere.
Dude, it's 1, 2, 3, kick 2, 3, point 2, 3, clap 2, 3. That's the entirety of 70s dancing.
You're the musician in this world, not me, boy.
We also see here that Tony is the king of the dance club, and everyone loves him, especially Annette. And the one chick that comes up to him to wipe his brow and to tell him 400 times that she loves to watch him dance. Dude, this is ridiculous.
I feel like a lot of patients at the home were out on like disco day and were allowed to go out and experience a night of dancing because the people in this movie are very weird. And I know, or let me say, I understand that cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This shit, though, is fucking weird. Like, the amount of repeaters in this movie that just constantly say the same shit, it's like, yo.
I love to watch you dance, Tony. I love to watch you dance. Just love it. Watching you dance. I love to watch you dance.
You don't need to keep her talking that whole... We get it. She's obsessed with it. You demonstrated that by wiping the sweat off of his fucking forehead. We got to do this. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey. If anyone comes up and is giving you googly eyes and asking to wipe the sweat off of your face, the only acceptable answer to that is, no, you may not. And then you either get them out of the way or you get out of the way.
Yes.
Because that is trouble you don't want.
No.
And in the unwritten sequel to this, Tony is murdered by that woman.
We also see that they each take turns banging in the car that's parked outside.
If you want to know how an AIDS epidemic gets started, like AIDS didn't exist before 1980. And this movie's in 77?
Yes.
Gee, let me think. It took 3 years for that vinyl seat to make its way around fucking Brooklyn.
And I'm going to do this. Hi, people out there that are interested in having sex with people they just met at the club. We're not here to judge. If you want to do that, do that. But don't bang in the car and take turns banging in the car. Use the bathroom like a normal person. Come on, people. What are we doing here?
Oh, come on!
I'm just not a fan of any of this whole thing.
No,
I
don't.
The whole setup, meeting the chick in the club, fucking in the car, your friend's coming out, timing you, for Christ's sakes.
Uh-huh. All right, get out. You've been in there 20 minutes.
This isn't America's Got Talent. Back the fuck up.
We do find out here that there's this dance competition coming up. And Tony and Annette start training for said competition at this local dance studio. And he makes it very obvious that all he wants to do is dance and he doesn't want to date her. And he does so by calling her a cunt like 40 times.
Look, I mean, what are you anyway? You nice girl or you cunt?
Again, those Italians represented so well.
We are painted in the best of lights in this movie. Yes. Tony here then sees Stephanie, who he saw at the club. She's dancing at the studio, and he starts chasing after her. Tony's brother, Frank Jr., then shows up. He's a priest who comes home and tells the family that he's leaving the church and is no longer a priest. And this obviously pisses everybody off, you know, with his parents and yada yada. And oh my God, my son, we're Italian Catholic. He's a priest. So he was like, they had God in their house. And now what I found interesting is that they like blamed Tony for everything. Like, him leaving the church. Like, did you touch him with your pussy finger? And now he's leaving the church. Like, what'd you do?
Yeah, let me tell you, it's not what Tony did. Okay, after having the benefit of hindsight, we know what was going on in the Catholic Church, and we know why Frank got the fuck out.
Yes.
Okay? Because he got the fuck in the wrong altar boy. And he had to get the fuck out of the church quickly.
Dude, they were like, listen, Frank, we love you, but we can't transfer you anymore. You've been everywhere. Yeah. You got to just go away.
A similar story occurred in the state of New Jersey about 20 years ago.
This whole storyline is... It's nonsensical and doesn't need to be in this movie. And if you take it out, it's actually an hour and a half long. And it's already a little bit of a better movie. But
yeah, the only benefit you really get from this is somebody that Tony respects.
Yeah.
Telling him he's good at something. Because he's constantly mentioning how nobody ever tells him he's good at shit.
Yep.
So his brother is telling him that he's really good at something and he's really proud of him for, you know, doing what he's doing with the dancing, and to let him know that their parents are kind of full of shit.
Yeah.
Which every kid eventually finds out, but it does take a while to get there, especially when, you know, that's all you fucking know.
Yeah, exactly. Tony then, after this, continues to chase Stephanie. She finally agrees to have coffee with him. And during this whole coffee scene, she agrees to dance with him, but she also realizes here that Tony is a caveman. So she makes it abundantly clear that all she wants to do is dance with him, and like, that's it.
Yeah, but she's also a name-dropping asshole.
I had business lunches with Eric Clapton at Lakota Basque and Cat Stevens at Le Madrigal. Hey, you know who came in the office the other day? Laurence Olivier.
The way she speaks while talking about how intelligent she is and how all these interesting people want to know how interesting she is and how intelligent she is at such a young age. Dude, she sounds like a fucking moron.
Yes.
And the only reason he don't know no better is because he's a fucking moron too.
Yes. Well, and we know that he's a moron, and he exhibits that he's a moron, because when she drops Eric Clapton's name, he's like, yeah, I don't know who the fuck that is. Let's settle the fuck down, okay?
Yeah. I was more shocked that you didn't know who Paul Anka was. Paul Anka? Paul Anka? That's Paul goddamn Anka, you son of a bitch.
Put some fucking respect on his name.
Goddamn right.
So Tony then breaks the news to Annette that he has this new partner, and he waits to do it when they meet for practice. Like, listen, this movie is littered with criminals and assholes. Like, that's just everybody. At one point in the movie, I went, who am I supposed to like in this movie? Because everybody's an asshole. Like, you feel bad for Annette, especially at the end. But even Annette, you're just kind of like, dude, just leave this prick alone and go do your thing. Like, fuck this dude. But there's not a person that you're like, I'm rooting for that person. Like, everybody's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this movie should have been called.
And they're not even kind of an asshole. They are assholes.
Yes.
Just plain and simple. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Assholes and criminals.
Yeah, that's it. That's all that's in this movie. So Tony then takes Frank Jr. out to the discotheque for some dancing. And Tony goes off on his solo dancing here. He's finger banging, he's clapping, and he's wearing them high-ass pants. His pants were so high, it looked like they had a cummerbund built in to the top of the fucking pants. Like, I know mom jeans are coming back, like that's a thing now. But bro, these, like, the clothes in the 70s were just ridiculous. From the collars to the, the flared out bottoms. But the high, like, all you saw was nipples and belts. Like, that's it.
Say, yeah, his waistline is where, like, right under his titties. They're supporting him.
You were right.
I think it's funny how his friends are these, we're tough guy Italians, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Brooklyn, and we don't give a fuck, and fuck this fucking guy, and fuck you, cunt, blah, 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 blah. You're really fucking tough. Oh, here he goes on the dance floor. My guy's gonna fucking take this one. Look at him owning it. Fucking king. It's fucking king of the dance floor. That's my guy.
This fucking guy.
What, you want to fight? You want to fight or you want to do the hustle? Huh? Huh? I ain't no pussy. I'm going to do the hustle.
Oh my God. So this whole series of scenes in the club here literally makes me piss my pants because we see Bobby, the mood killer. Everybody's having a good time. Look at my boy dance. And Bobby's like, hey, Frank, hey, father, do you think you can get the Pope to give me a dispensation from my girlfriend getting an abortion? And Frank here is like, cool story, bro. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Hey, Tony, nice friends you got. Like,
yeah, you know what? I actually think the Pope will give you a dispensation for an abortion because you should not be breeding.
Dude,
ever. And whoever fucks you should also be sterilized right along with you.
Dude.
This was horrible.
Listen.
I just like, how does that guy fuck anything?
And my favorite part, when Tony takes Stephanie out with the guys and Bobby asks her, like, would you marry the guy or would you have an abortion? She's like, I don't know. Who's the guy? And he's like, me. And she's like, I'd have a fucking abortion. Kick rocks, pal. And she just fucking takes off. Like,
dude, I tell you what, that's the one thing you can never take away from East Coast women. Is don't ask the fucking question if you don't want the fucking answer.
Exactly. At one point in the movie, he has like 7-inch platform shoes on, and he's still 3 feet shorter than John Travolta. Was he 4 feet tall? Like, I don't know how tall this dude was, but he was wearing 7-inch platforms to make him 5'4".
Not to mention his fucking 8-inch afro he was sporting.
Oh, but
this was actually Danny DeVito's first role.
Oh, whoops! Oh, I dropped my monster condom that I used for my Magnum Dong.
Tony and his caveman friends here leave the club and they head to the bridge with Annette riding in the back. They do some bridge dancing. They fuck around with the lights on the bridge and they pretend to fall off the bridge.
Oh, the fun you could have pre 9/11. Just walking on bridges like it's cool. They probably, on Tuesday nights, they probably go out to the airport and fucking piss on airplanes or some stupid shit.
Dude, this is fun pre-technology. Like this
Oh yes, thank God for when everybody's like, "Get off your phone." What do you want me to do? Go jump over grates on the fucking Verrazano Bridge?
So we then get the storyline of their friend Gus, who got mugged and said it was some Hispanic dudes who did it. So Tony and his buddies,
The Barracudas.
yeah, the Barracudas. So
Which, technically, you should put a fucking hit out on Ann and Nancy Wilson, not the fucking Puerto Ricans down the street.
yes. So Tony and his buddies drive their car through the front of the place where they're hanging out, and they start what looks like a big brawl. But
Yes.
they prove that they can't fight. Here's the thing. If you're driving your car through the front of a building, and it's a one room that they're hanging out in.
Yeah.
Everybody should be taken by surprise that's in there. I'm not condoning this behavior. However, if you drive your car through the building and then proceed to get the shit kicked out of you, you're not good at that particular activity, and you should fucking stop it immediately.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and add to that. Hi kids, Uncle Corey here. It's okay if you're not tough.
Exactly.
But don't fucking pretend to be.
Yes.
Because this is the shit that happens. You do wild, crazy white people shit like drive a fucking car through a building.
With no repercussions.
With zero repercussions. And then proceed to get the holy shit kicked out of you by everybody else. You drove a car over them and they beat you up.
You obviously don't know karate.
Yes. So just stop pretending to be tough at all. One guy even brought a fucking switchblade into there.
Yeah.
So you drove a car into a building, got out of the car with a knife, and still got the shit kicked out of you.
Yes. Everybody, including Tony, everybody in this crew is like Cheddar Bob. Like, everybody's shooting themselves in the leg. They're stabbing. I'm surprised that dude didn't stab himself 4 times in the leg. Like, I got him.
Yeah. And they have the balls to call Richie the coward. No, he's smart, motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what cowards usually are. They're smart.
Yes.
Because he was like, oh my God, this guy's choking me. I need to get the fuck out of here. And didn't freak out, do anything.
He just dipped.
Put his car in reverse and got the fuck out of there.
That's it. That's the smartest dude in the crew. Even though he's a mood killer, he's the smartest dude in the crew.
Yeah, not great with his verbal skills, but by and large, he knows when he's in over his head.
He's got a good fight or flight response. That's all I'm saying. They then get to the hospital and tell Gus about the whole fight and revenge and yada yada. And Gus reveals that he thought it was them, but he wasn't sure. And then everybody gets pissed at him, and that's the end of this storyline. Like, there's another fragmented storyline for the movie.
Yeah, this is where I really frown upon hyperbole in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you got a crew of guys or girls, I don't know how badass your crew is, but when you got a crew and you've been jumped and you're, fucking, oh my God, it had to have been the Barracudas. You know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, exactly.
You fucking know what they're gonna do. You're just being a dick. Once again, dicks and criminals. And as Armando said here, the storyline just completely falls off, and it's not bad writing. It's because it's the 70s. They're white. They're Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
End of the story. The rest of those Puerto Ricans are probably still serving their fucking time in jail. Are you kidding me?
The cops came and arrested them for driving a car through their own building.
Exactly. Exactly.
We finally get to the dance competition. And Tony and Stephanie win first place, but Tony gets pissed because he knows that the Puerto Rican couple that came in second should have won. And he's pissed that everybody's like, yay, my guy, he won the dance comp. Oh, look at this guy.
This is my piece of advice, okay? Because I'm quite sure everybody watching this who likes this movie really respects Travolta here, right? Like he's had this moment of clarity and he realizes that the Puerto Ricans are no different than I am. And everybody's got to shit on somebody just to make themselves feel better. Maybe when you're doing that and you're having this epiphany, don't use language that still disparages that entire race.
After this moment of clarity that he has, he then is still upset and then sexually assaults Stephanie in the backseat of the car. And he then starts shit with his friends because Annette's trying to hook up with one of his friends to make him jealous. And then he gets in the car and they drive to the bridge.
In fairness here, because he has his epiphany.
Yeah.
He does his fucking racial fucking laden goddamn speech about how everybody sucks. Takes that and is just like, here's a really good idea. I'm going to give the money away. Kind of the right thing. Like, hey, you won. We get it. It's symbolic. But at the same time, boys and girls, when somebody gives you $500, just take the fucking money. You want to give them that tiny ass trophy?
Cool.
Fine. That shit was insulting to begin with and pathetic that that's what you're fucking working this hard for.
Yes.
So fine. Take the fucking trophy, but keep your money. Anyway, so you give this big symbolic gesture. We didn't deserve this. You walk out, which you didn't because your whole fucking dance routine sucked, by the way.
It was terrible.
And then you go out to the car. You're pissing. You're moaning. You force her into the back. She wasn't going to get in the car.
Yeah.
You tell her to get in the back seat. You proceed to try and fucking rape her, which thank God she was able to defend herself and kick you in the fucking nuts, right?
Yep. Yep.
But then you're like, oh no, Annette, you're about to get raped. Because that's what it seems like he's trying to do, like the no, you're mine and I'm saving you. But he knows exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And he's trying to push Annette out of the way. And it's like, dude, Travolta, pick a fucking lane, bro.
Yeah.
Do you want to just be the only rapist in the car? Do you want to be the only rapist in Brooklyn? Like,
yeah.
What exactly is motivating you through this whole thing, other than the fact that you're mad because you just found out that you're privileged?
Yeah.
Dude, you told your boss to go fuck himself.
And got your job back.
And got your job back. You got a $250 raise, said thank you, and he upped it to $4. And you're finding out today that you're privileged because you won that trophy? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, this whole series of scenes, like from here through the end, my head was tilted. I was just like, huh? I didn't get any of this. But
no.
They get in the car, they drive to the bridge, while Annette gets raped in the back seat of the car.
And
fucking gross. Like, this whole scene was so uncomfortable. And it was just like, again, there's a bunch of scenes in this film that I'm like, this just didn't need to be here. The storyline didn't need to be here. And this was one of those, because at the end of the day, and at the end of this whole series of scenes, this scene is about Bobby.
Yep.
And Bobby losing his shit. This scene isn't about, the only thing that's about Annette is that the fact that she gets raped, because there's no resolution to it. She gets raped. They go to the bridge. Bobby's like, hey, look at me, Tony. I'm fucking awesome. Now watch me dance on the fucking bridge. And Tony's trying to wrangle him back in. He falls off. He falls to his death. That's the story. But then the cops show up. Like, Annette's walking away with the two dudes that raped her. And I'm like, I know he's dead, but I just got raped. After
this movie's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
And it was barely hanging on by a thread up until this point.
Yes.
And you get to the gang rape scene. And you get to the point where Travolta has the balls. Our hero of the fucking movie has the balls after Annette is back in the fucking seat crying.
Yep.
After being gang raped. to turn around and go, you happy? Now you're a fucking cunt.
Yeah.
What?
Dude.
What?
Okay, I haven't seen this, full disclosure, in a long time. There's a few things that I don't remember about this movie. I don't remember the rape scene, and I definitely don't remember the Travolta line afterwards, where he's just like, hey, now you're whoa. Let's fucking land the plane, Travolta. What the fuck is going on here? Like, that whole thing, I'm very rarely blown back by moments in movies. But this, I sat back, I was like, Jesus Christ.
And again, it makes no sense because the POV while she's getting raped isn't on the raper or the rape. It's on Travolta.
Yes.
And him looking disgusted and horrible. And like, he just knows at this point in time, like he's in the wrong place with the wrong people.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want this life anymore. But at the same time, you turn around and call her a cunt?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
hurt. Like
that again. That scene makes zero sense.
Do respect. You're not my hero.
Yeah.
You're not the guy I want to root for.
Yeah.
At any point, you weren't the guy I wanted to root for when you tried to rape Stephanie.
Yeah.
But now because you know your two friends are going to beat the shit out of you if you try and stop them.
Maybe they'll beat the shit out of you because we've established none of them can fight.
Well, as soon as they put him up against the hood when he tried to stop it the first time, he backed the fuck down. So my guess is they could beat the shit out of him.
Fair enough.
So, ergo, you have to take all this grossness and frustration out on somebody. So, Annette, you're a fucking cunt.
Yeah. And what makes less sense is how this movie ends. Because after this, Tony leaves his friends behind. He walks to the subway. He takes the subway back to New York City to see Stephanie at her new apartment. She lets him in and literally says,
First time I ever let a known rapist in my apartment.
But she lets him in, and he talks about wanting to move to New York City with no job, no plan, no nothing. This is what cavemen do. And the movie ends when they vow to be friends. And then they hold hands, and then it's a freeze frame, end of movie.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's how this movie ends?
She agrees to be friends with her would-be rapist and kisses him on the cheek.
Yes. Dude, okay. I know I said this at the beginning, but this movie is hot trash.
Yeah, I would like to know what happened in the writing room, with the studio executives, whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to know what happened that the last 30 minutes of this film turned into a fucking snuff film.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, it's rape and people falling off bridges and attempted rape, and then, you're a good guy deep down. Let's be friends.
We can't go out like that.
When we got the request to do this, I was like, Saturday Night Fever. It's going to be funny because it was 70s, Travolta, lots of disco. Like, the storyline that I remembered was, I'm a dancer and I want to win this competition. Like, that's what the movie was. And there was a whole bunch of, like, disco. There's only 10 minutes out of this 2 hours that's actual dancing. The rest of this is just, like, fuck nuggets just running around doing crazy shit.
I really thought, like you, that this movie was about a kid growing up in Brooklyn, was a really good dancer, and was kind of like the king of the dance hall and a piece of shit outside of it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean as a human being. I just mean like that's how he was viewed.
Yeah.
Not very intelligent, not very this, not very that. Nobody understands why dancing is such a big deal to him. But he's really good at it. And against all odds, he becomes a really good dancer.
Yeah.
That's what I thought the movie was.
And it's not.
It's
at
not.
all.
And what's crazy about it is, to me, or what I didn't grow up in the 70s. Okay? I was born.
And
late
as much
70s wasn't there.
And as much as you'd like to believe, I did not grow up in the 70s either.
That's fair enough. I mean, you shot the fucking Zapruder film, but that's fair enough. So, having not grown up in the 70s, the first hour and a half of this movie, I'm like, okay, if nothing else, the bright side, the shine I'm going to put on this, the bright side I'm going to find here, was this seemed to encapsulate the 70s.
What the 70s were. Absolutely.
Like, when you think of the 70s, it is the first hour and a half of this film.
Yep.
And then it turns into fucking 8mm.
Yes.
Where it's just like, what? Attempted rape, fucking accidental suicide, fucking da-da-da-da-da-da. And then, never mind, everything's good. Cue Carole King song.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The last half of this movie was just gross.
Yes.
And I'm not going to go, we don't have to go on some fucking pretentious rant about how rape is bad. Okay. If you don't know that yet, then you're fucking gross anyway.
Yeah.
So we don't need to tell you that it's bad. It's just, it's bad writing from a storytelling perspective. It's bad, nonsensical writing.
That's what to start this. That's
and you
what
just
I said.
end on a fucking fart. You end on, it's not even a good wet fart. It's just, that's how this movie ends.
And you know what? That's how we'll end this review. Oh, Corey, what movies do we have coming up?
Thank God. I know for a fact we have better movies coming up. We got When Harry Met Sally. We got Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence classic Life. We got Clerks. We got Toy Soldiers. And when you talk about somebody speaking in a sentence and singing, that's this kid. We also have Secret of My Success and the Robert Pattinson airplane into a building classic Remember Me. You couldn't have picked Water for Elephants, for fuck's sake.
Talk about ending on a wet fart.
Yeah.
With that said, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1977's Saturday Night Fever.